Welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to show you how I created this makeup look. I feel like this is a really easy go-to look for office, date night, daytime, nighttime. It's a really versatile transitional look. I feel like you can tone it down, you can tone it up by adding a little bit more or like skipping a step. But I wanted to create something that was cool tone. Most of the neutral looks I do here on my channel I feel like lean a little bit warmer, so mixing it up a little bit for you. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Today I'm using pretty much mostly all luxury high-end makeup, which I don't really know that I've done a video like that on my channel before. And when I'm talking luxury high-end, I'm talking LaMer, I'm talking Tom Ford, I'm talking Charlotte Tilbury. I thought this would be a fun video because if you're anything like me, a lot of these products that I'm going to use today, I've actually wanted and lusted over for like a long time, for a year, 6 months. They're products that I always wanted to get, but I wasn't sure how they wore or how to use them. And so, you know, and they're luxury, so it's not just in purchase that I just go make willy-nilly. But a lot of these are new products, and I wanted to show you how, how I apply them, how they work on my skin, so you could see that if you're in the market or thinking about any of these products. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Hopefully you find it informative. As always, leave me all your questions and comments down below. Tell me your favorite luxury high-end products. I think the product that I'm most excited to use in this video, or was most excited to use, obviously I've already used it, is the Tom Ford palette, the Eye Color Quad in the shade Nude Dip. This is something I have literally come close to buying so many times, and I finally just did it the other day and I have no regrets. I do want to thank Nordstrom for partnering with me on this video. Nordstrom is one of my favorite places to shop. Shoes, handbags, clothing, beauty, you name it. I love Nordstrom. They have the best customer service in my book. So thank you, Nordstrom, for sponsoring this video, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first we're going to start with foundation. I'm going to be applying the LaMer Soft Fluid Foundation. This has an SPF of 20. I bought the shade 150 Natural. I felt like it was the most neutral of the shades around this like level of light, medium, dark. And this is what the bottle looks like. It is absolutely beautiful. I have lusted over this foundation forever. I've worn it a few times. I've picked up samples before in store and used it and loved it, and I just decided to go ahead and splurge and get it. So I'm going to do one pump on my hand. You can see the consistency of it. It's moving pretty quickly. It's not super watery, but it's definitely not a thick consistency. So I'm going to go in with my foundation brush, and I'm actually just going to kind of tap the tip of the brush right on my hand. And we'll start in the center of the face and just kind of press. I love the scent of this foundation, which is very odd because I don't think it's like a scent that was like intentionally put there to like smell good, but I really like it. So I have, like I said, I've worn this foundation in the past and I've always loved it. It just gives the skin a beautiful, flawless, but very natural look. And it's very, I shouldn't say very glowy. It's actually kind of like a natural, like a glow from within look. So it doesn't look shiny or greasy, but it definitely gives the skin some radiance. It makes the skin look really hydrated. I can't recall how long it, like if it was a really long wearing foundation for me or not. I do remember I felt like it held up pretty well. I'll have to update you guys. I'll definitely leave a pinned comment down below on how this wore throughout the day today. Since getting that BBL treatment and then using, some new skincare products, I feel like I really don't need a lot of coverage. Any of the pigmentation that I've had has really faded, if not completely disappeared. So I've really been looking for foundations that offer more of a natural coverage versus really heavy full coverage. The foundations that I've purchased lately that offer full coverage, I really have not cared for. So I think this is like the perfect coverage. I did go in and do about another half a pump because I want to kind of layer it. Okay, so now I have a beauty blender. I'm going to take whatever's left, which is not very much, and I'm just going to apply that in the center of my face, kind of take it underneath my eyes a little bit. I am going to apply concealer, but applying a little bit of foundation underneath there will kind of eliminate the amount of concealer that I need to put on. Oh my gosh, this is just gorgeous. Gorgeous. It does not disappoint. It is a luxury foundation for sure, but it doesn't disappoint. Okay, so for concealer, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away Liquid Concealer, and I have the shade 4, Fair. I've had this for a couple of months now. I really like it. It's a great concealer for those days that you don't want a lot of like coverage. If you like a more natural, lighter concealer, this is a great one. It kind of reminds me of, this shade in particular reminds me of like a really great concealer and brightener at the same time. I could have gone one shade darker and it would work, but I like the brightness that this gives. And because it's not a thicker full coverage concealer, there's more forgiveness, meaning that if you get a shade that is either a little too light or a little too dark, chances are it's going to blend into the skin really, really nicely and easily and not look too heavy. Okay, so next I'm gonna take my beauty blender and I'm just going to press that into the skin. Okay, so now that that is pressed in, it really shouldn't take much work because it is so light. Next, I'm gonna go in and I'm going to apply my blush before I set everything because I am working with a cream blush. I am using the Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand. This is by Charlotte Tilbury, and I just picked this up recently, and I love this product. I'm gonna go purchase it in the peach shade that it comes in. It also comes in like a gold shade, which I don't think the gold one's gonna work for me, but the lighter highlight one, I think it's called Spotlight, and then there's a contour color. So I'm just going to kind of apply this just right here on the apples of my cheek when I smile. Don't worry, we're not going to leave it like that, of course. Then I'm going to go in with my foundation brush and I'm just going to kind of press that into the skin, and it just blends out so beautifully and so easily. You could also use your finger, you could use a beauty blender or a sponge. It's so easy to blend out. The more that you press it and blend it into the skin, the sheerer and lighter the color is going to be. So if you feel like you've applied too much, just keep on pressing and you will start to see that that color really soften. I do think that I did apply a little too much, so I'm going to take my beauty blender and I'm just going to go right over it. There we go. Okay, so next I'm going to go in and set everything, and here is another product that I am so excited about. I just took the plunge and I purchased it. It's the LaMer powder. It's called The Powder by LaMer, and it comes with like a little poof inside, but I prefer to use a brush always. So I'm going to go in with my 104 tapered powder brush by BK Beauty. I'm going to kind of load the brush up, but then I'm going to take the lid and I'm going to kind of press and tap off excess powder because I really don't need a lot of powder. I'm all about using just what you need, especially when you're using a luxury product. You don't want to use more than you need. And I'm going to kind of lightly, very, very light pressure, dust this into the center of the face, under the eyes a tad, and around the cheeks. You can certainly set that cream blush. It's going to be just fine. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and warm the skin up and bronze my skin a little bit. For that, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow palette. I've had this for a few months. You guys know I love this. I've talked about this a lot in past videos. And I'm going to kind of load my brush up. I'm using the 103 bronzer brush by BK Beauty. And we are going to just kind of create some more definition and warm up the skin a little bit. So pretty. So, so pretty. And I'm going to take it right around my hairline as well. So beautiful. I feel like the skin is just glowing. Now I am going to go ahead and take a brush and create a little bit of a contour on my nose. Very soft. I'm going to take the same product, the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow, and I'm just going to dust this on the side of my nose with a little highlight brush. Something a little smaller. And I'm just going to kind of run that on the side of my nose. This color in this palette is like the perfect contour color. It is not too warm, like a bronzer, but it's not too gray either, like some contours are. So it can really double as your contour and your bronzer. I usually don't use separate products for both steps. I usually just use whatever bronzer I'm using, but technically a cooler tone is better for contour. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and move on to the eyes. So we are going to be playing with the Tom Ford Eye Color Quad palette. I got the shade Nude Dip. I have seriously been lusting over this product for probably a year. I have come so close to purchasing it so many times, and I don't know what got into me the other day, but the other day I was like, I am going to get this product. And so this is what the palette looks like. The Tom Ford quads are so beautiful. This is the only one that I own. Of course, I've been at the counter, swatched them all, lusted over them. I would love to have them all, but I just decided to start with this one. All 4 shades have a bit of shimmer, but they're not like super highly foiled. They're a very nice, soft shimmer. So I personally think they're fine for textured eyelids. If you have a lot of texture on your lids and you usually kind of shy away from shimmer, I do think that this formula is so beautiful and so soft that you can wear it, especially if you apply it with like a softer brush that's not going to pack it on. So what shall we do? I feel like we should prep the eye first with a little eye primer. So I'm going to go in with my Armani eye tint. This is the shade 09. I think it has another name to it, like Cold Copper or Cool Copper, but we're just going to call it 09. I think they recently changed the packaging on this though. So if you go to the counter and it looks a little different, I did see that it is a little shorter and fatter packaging now. So I'm just going to blend that in with my finger. This product is one of my favorite products, you guys, because it not only works as an eye primer, but it really is a liquid eyeshadow, which is kind of how I wear it normally. Normally I throw this on and then I don't even mess with shadows. I'll just put this on my eyelid, blend it out with my finger. Maybe I'll throw a color in my crease. And then I'll just go. So quick, so easy. It wears all day. It's not heavy. It's very sheer and beautiful. So that's kind of what it looks like. You can layer it if you want a little bit more color. I'm going to give it about a minute or so to kind of dry, and I'm going to go in and apply my highlight. So for that, we are going to work with this shade here in the Tom Ford palette, the lightest shade. Now, it does have a little bit more shimmer than I like to use underneath my brow. Typically, I like to use something a little bit more matte, but we're going to see how this applies. The eyes are definitely going to be more on the shimmery side today. I'm just going to apply it real soft. I'm not going to apply a lot of pressure. Perfect. Okay, so next we're going to go in and build a little bit of definition in the crease. And for that, I'm going to use the darkest shade in the palette, actually, this Tom Ford palette here, this really dark shade. So it looks dark in the palette, but when it goes on the skin, it's a little bit lighter. I'm going to kind of just show you that. And especially using a fluffy brush, you can shear it out a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to kind of create a little bit of definition, really, really soft, not applying too much pressure. You do get some color there. I mean, you definitely get some depth, but I don't think it's too dark. I wanted something to contrast with that Armani eye tint. The next shade in here that's one shade lighter than this, I feel like is almost the exact same color of the Armani eye tint. So I wanted something a little bit deeper. And I'm just going to kind of pull that down to meet my lash line. Perfect. Okay, then we're going to go and do the other eye. So next I'm going to take a fluffy crease brush. I'm using the 201 by BK Beauty, and I'm just going to kind of run right over that. I don't have any product on my brush. I'm really just kind of softening that crease a tad. It's going to be subtle, very subtle change, but I feel like the subtle details is where it's at. So next I'm going to go in with a shader brush. This is the 203 by BK Beauty, and I'm going to load up this pinky shade. It's let me show you what it looks like. It's so light reflective that it looks a lot lighter, but it actually has like a good level of pink to it. And I'm going to load up the brush on the side, and I'm going to go and I'm just going to kind of pack it right here onto the center of the eyelid, just to give a little bit more of that shimmer and sheen and brightness to the eye. I'm not going to take it all the way to the inner corner. I'm just keeping it right in the center of the lid, like that. I'm going to go ahead and take whatever's left on my brush, and I'm just going to go right in the inner corner of my eye and create a little bit of brightness there. Okay, so next I'm going to go do my brows off camera, and I'll be right back. Next, I'm going to line my upper lash line with a black liquid pen. And I'm going to try and keep the line really, really thin. I don't want it to take up too much real estate on my lid. I just want to create a little bit of definition right at the lash line. And then I'm going to slightly pull that out into a little subtle baby wing. There you go. So you can see a little more definition at the lash line, but the liner's not thick and not too distracting. Next, I'm going to line the lower lash line with a like a chocolate eye kohl pencil. This one is by Urban Decay. And I'm just going to run it on my lower lash line about from the outer corner about halfway over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to smoke that out with a little shadow. So next I'm going to grab a smudge brush, like a really small smudge brush. I'm going to go back in with that deepest shade from the palette, and we're just going to run that right over that pencil. It's going to give a really smoky, kind of diffused effect to that liner. It's also going to set that liner. So if you work with a liner that's really waxy and soft, if you don't use a powder like an eyeshadow on top of it, it can easily heat up, especially if you live in a really hot climate. or your skin produces oils, it can break down that waxy pigment, and then that's what creates like raccoon eyes or the darkness under the eyes later throughout the day. So it's really important to kind of set that, whether it's a translucent powder or it's an eyeshadow that matches the same shade. Okay, so next I'm going to apply a little bit of mascara. I do have lash extensions, but I want to just give my lashes a little more drama. So I'm just going to coat the top of my extensions with this mascara. This is by Clinique. And this is actually a little sample that I got, and I love it. It's one of my favorite mascaras. I don't really talk too much about it, but I really, really love it because it gives length and volume, but it's very nice and separating and soft looking. The mascara is the High Impact Mascara, and I love it too for lower lashes because it's not too thick. It really does define and add volume to the lower lashes without looking too much. I'm real careful about the mascaras I use on my lower lashes because I don't want them to look too heavy. So for lips, I'm going to apply one of my favorite lipsticks at the moment. It is by MAC, and it is one of their Love Me lipsticks, which I believe is one of their newest collection of lipsticks. This is the shade Daddy's Girl. It's a really beautiful rosy nude pink, and I'm not going to apply anything else on my lips. I do have a tad bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Dance Floor Princess on my lips already, but I wanted to add something slightly darker. This formula is so nice. It's got beautiful pigment payoff. It's very, very comfortable on the lips. It's not too glossy, but it has a little bit of a shine to it. It is such a comfortable and beautiful formula, and they have some really gorgeous colors. So beautiful. I love this. Now that I'm looking at the makeup, I feel like this is a very, very cool tone look for sure. And the lip color, the eye color, which is a little different than I wear, even though it's neutral and I always wear neutrals, I feel like I tend to lean more on the warm side. So I'm really, really happy with the way this turned out. And that wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I do want to thank Nordstrom for partnering with me on this video. Nordstrom is one of my favorite retailers to shop at, whether I'm shopping clothes, shoes, handbags, beauty. One thing I love about Nordstrom is their customer service. I really don't think I don't think anyone has them beat when it comes to their customer service, which is so important to me as a consumer, because if I want to feel confident in purchasing something that I know that if I have any issues, any questions, I need to make an exchange, I need to make a return, I can go and do that confidently. So again, thank you so much, Nordstrom, for partnering with me on this video. I want to thank you guys for watching it. As always, leave me your questions, comments, remarks, all that down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.